Hi everyone, my name is Judy Cole and I'm happy today to be able to share with you another easy recipe that you can prepare at home. And it's called the strawberry chocolate and cheese delight. Now first, the method is really simple. All we need to do is to stir all the wet ingredients together and then combine with the dry ingredients. Let's first take a look at the ingredients that we have. Now as the recipe indicates, in the first step, which you will be having a copy, the first thing we're going to do is to stir the sugar. Okay, so I've got all my ingredients all conveniently packed into this. Sugar, egg, just an egg, medium-sized egg. Okay, egg. Melted butter. Now here I'm actually using unsalted premium anchor butter. What you can do is to cut the butter into pieces and then you can microwave it. Another way is to just put it into your Ziploc bag for the butter and then pop the whole thing into the microwave and then it will be melted very easily. Or you can do it directly over the fire, place the butter in the saucepan and just heat it up gently. So what we have here is the sugar, eggs, melted butter, okay, milk. I'm using anchor milk again, okay. So now the milk comes from the cows that feed on grass, so they are grass fed, and which is a natural way where cows roam happily in the fields, eating the grass. And that's why if you take a look at the milk is slightly yellowish. It has a slight yellow tinge, as in all the anchor products, whether it's cream or cheese, because this comes from the chlorophyll that the cow eats when it eats the grass, the chlorophyll in the grass. Okay, so what we have here would be the milk. So I'm going to pour in the milk, and we're going to use a whisk. Now if you like, you may also want to add a little bit of vanilla essence, but that's actually optional. You can put a bit of vanilla essence and then a little bit of salt as well to give it a little bit of taste, okay, to enhance the taste. Although it's not really necessary, you can put just a pinch of salt, or you can use also the salted butter that Anchor also has. Otherwise, unsalted butter is fine. Okay, so what we do is that we stir all the ingredients together like this to somewhat dissolve most of the sugar. Just stir, okay, until it dissolves. And then once it's done, okay, we're going to sieve the flour directly into the wet ingredients. So I've got a sieve over here, and I'm going to put in the flour. We are using plain flour, which is medium protein flour. So I'm actually using unbleached premium Japanese flour in our company. That's what we use. Okay, so we've got flour, a teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, so yeah. When it comes to baking, the measurements are quite exact, unlike cooking where you could make an estimate. It's always good to ensure that your ingredients are accurate. So use a teaspoon, okay, and then flatten it. Okay, make sure it's flattened, and then we place it. And we are going to put in a little bit of baking soda. Now the reason why baking soda is often added into chocolate cake, one reason is that the pH level of baking soda is above 7, which makes it more alkaline. So that tends to darken the look of the chocolate cake, giving the impression that it's more chocolatey. As mentioned, we normally eat with our eyes. So the first thing we look at it, when it looks chocolatey, we think it's already very chocolatey. So that's why we add a little bit of baking soda. At the same time, the baking soda will also react with the liquid in the ingredients so that carbon dioxide is released. Now when carbon dioxide is released, it helps to raise the cake. So baking soda is alkaline. and we added a little bit of baking powder. Baking powder has got both the acid and the alkaline. Now this is the science behind baking. So now what we do as well, we want a chocolate cake, so don't forget the cocoa powder already weighed for me conveniently in a pack like this. So we put in the cocoa powder. And then we sieve it, okay, directly. Now I sieve it directly into my liquid ingredients so that later on when we combine everything together, it's all done in one bowl. And then when you wash, you only wash one bowl. So that makes your job a little bit easier. So we sieve. The reason why we sieve is because we want to distribute the ingredients evenly, like this. So just sieve and then press it through like this. Okay, should you see? Okay. Alright, and just use a whisk and stir gently. Okay, just stir it till it's just well mixed. Don't overmix. Okay, so that if you overmix, it tends to toughen the cake. Okay, so if you take a look at the ingredients here, what we do is that we stir gently. Okay, keep everything in until just combine. So this method makes it really simple, and you can do this with your family. So makes it very, very simple indeed. Okay, so just stir everything like this. Okay, once it's pretty smooth, not too lumpy, okay, we stop. You can either use, for example, one easy way to get a jug with a spout, because the mixture tends to be quite liquid. So just pour into. Now you can either pour this into baking containers like a cupcake container. For example, you could get one of these containers and line it with a paper cup, so you can get a nice chocolate cake at the end like this. But I have these nice molds. These are silicone molds. Actually, you can get these a lot in all the shops these days, or even over the internet. But I'm going to use these. These are bakeable, freezable, and it's easy and it's nice. Okay, so what I do is that since I've already deposited, I pour the mixture into here. Okay, you can pour roughly about 3/4 full. Look at the nice gooey chocolatey cake, and then we can bake it in the oven. Now in the meantime, I have actually been preheating my oven about 180 degrees, top heat, bottom heat. Okay, like this. So really fun and easy. Okay, so actually you can put in any bakeable container. All right, just like I chose to put it into these, so that when the cake comes out, it looks like bars of chocolate. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right, and then I'm going to bake this in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. Okay, now how to know whether it's cooked? Once it's cooked, when you put the wooden skewer in the center it should come out clean. Now the thing to remember is not to over bake your cake. If you over bake, it can easily turn into biscuit. If you under bake, it will be soft and sticky and may sink when you try to unmold it. So baking is all about observation, understanding the science behind it, and understanding also that different ovens will bake at different different durations. So be very sensitive to it. But as I said, I have already preheated my oven. In our school here, we have professional 3-deck oven over here. So in this case, the baking temperature has already been set 180 degrees. I place it in, and it will take roughly about 20 minutes to bake, plus and minus, depending on the oven that you have. Now, if you're baking at home, obviously you wouldn't have such a big deck oven unless you have a home bakery. Your oven is probably the built-in oven or the tabletop oven. The same principle applies. You preheat your oven at 180 degrees for about 20 minutes. And if this is the entire interior of your oven, you would have a middle rack, lower rack, and upper rack. So what you do is that you bake your cakes in the middle rack. Alright? So once the cakes are done, now it's always good to put it into the freezer for a while before you unmold your cakes. So I've got some that I have already prepared ahead of time. So I'm going to take it out from the freezer in a short while. But okay, so I'm going to just clean up my table a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead to bring things. Okay. Another batch that was baked and then left to cool before I pop it into the oven. Now, cake being cake, sometimes it might rise and get to the top. No worries about it. What you have to do is to trim it. Okay, so I'm going to trim the cake. Okay, so over here, all right, once it's, now notice that it goes to the top, so you can always use a knife, a serrated knife to trim it. Okay, be careful. Okay, it seems a little bit hard to cut at this moment because I think I've left it in the freezer for a little bit too long. Okay, but no worries. The thing is that it's already frozen, so it's actually quite easy to take it out from the, and then I can try to trim this down a little bit so that it looks sits nicely. Okay, now all these do not waste. You can easily turn it into cake pop. I will give you some ideas about that. Okay, well, if it's not frozen so for me, I can actually use a knife like this, use the surface to trim it flat. But okay, so at this moment I'm going to just trim it down a bit. Sometimes things happen, we forget, we leave it. Okay, mistakes are made, but we can use it like this. Okay, so now I never throw all these because later on I will show you what I can do with them. So similarly, now reason why I trim is because I want it to fit nicely into this shape. All right, you see, otherwise it looks like a rocking horse. Okay, so just trim it down a little bit so that it sits nicely flat on here. Okay, you see that the color, there is a difference, partly because, as mentioned, it's been left in my freezer a little bit too long, so you see the difference because of temperature. Later on it will correct by itself and it should be fine. Okay. Now, in a short while, I'm going to show you how to make a very nice and delicious cream cheese frosting, okay, which I'm going to use to decorate. So, well, if you take a look at these, okay, so they're all sitting quite nicely like this, side by side. Okay, all the same, about the same height. So that's the purpose, that's the reason why I trim it. Okay, so let's just get some of our things ready. Now I've got these are nice. Otherwise you can also place directly here, like this. Okay, so later I'll show you more ideas. Okay. Now, as mentioned, okay, I'm not going to throw all these. I'm going to keep all these crumbs that you trim, and I'm going to just share with you some ideas what you can do with these. Okay, so let's put it into a bowl and take this away. All right. Okay. Now for the cream cheese frosting. Now for the cream cheese frosting, these are the ingredients. Now this we have cream cheese. I like Anchor cream cheese because it has got a traditional, very rich, satisfying taste. In fact, when I use it to make cheesecake, it's fabulous. All right, for the rich, and it's of course a big staple. Now I've got my cream cheese over here, so you can either break it up into pieces with your hands. If you take it out from the fridge, do not freeze cream cheese. The cream cheese comes in 1 kg form like this, so it can be when you make cheesecake and all that, you will find that you can use it very quickly. All right, so I've got cream cheese here, and I've got some icing sugar. Place them all together and use, okay, like a paddle to just cream it until it's quite smooth. Now be careful, don't put it on high speed, put it on low speed. Okay. Alright. Now this frosting, you can also add colors or whatever you may like to, for creaming, for piping of flowers and all the other stuff. But anyway, over here, I'm going to add a little bit of strawberry jam. Okay, so you can use any of your favorite brands. I've got a little bit of strawberry jam here, so as to give a little bit of flavor, okay, to you know, to that a little bit of slightly tangy kind of taste is always very very appetizing, makes it more appetizing. So I've got the, you can either use a spoon, okay, if you were to use a spoon it's also fine. You can just use a spoon without using a piping bag like this, just a touch of strawberry jam. This particular strawberry jam is from Germany, but you can use any of your favorite jam. You see, take a look at it. I just place a little bit like this at the base. So that when you bite into this, you have chocolate. At the same time, you have the cream cheese as well. Okay, so okay, look like this. Okay, all right, just a little bit. Okay, now if you don't have the same mold like I have, You can always bake it into a square tin, cut it into rectangles or any other shape, and then just brush. Once it's baked, just brush the top. Use a brush and dip into some strawberry jam and just brush the top. That will also do the trick. Okay, so let's come back to our cream cheese. Now it's creaming quite happily, so just want to make sure that everything is nice and smooth before you place it into a piping bag. Okay, now while it's still creaming, I'm going to prepare my piping bag. I've got a nozzle over here. This is a star nozzle. Okay, so depending on this, I'm going to use this. Okay. Okay, so every time when you place a piping nozzle, make sure the piping bag is just below the V shape, okay, to maintain a nice. Alright, okay, it's almost ready. I'm going to just scrape the sides down. Okay, just scrape. See, it's not so smooth yet. How long it takes to cream really depends on how soft your cream cheese was when you started. If the cream cheese is soft and it's been left on the counter for about half an hour, it takes a shorter time for it to cream. So it depends. Okay, let's just cream. You can also go up to higher speed to expedite the process. Okay. Oops, that was the phone ringing. Apologies, I didn't. These days, phones have come to be so much part of our lives. Even right now, my colleague is videotaping me using her handphone. These days, we can't do without it, and we can't. So it's become a part of our lives. Anyway. If you take a look at the mixture, it's quite smooth. All right, it's quite smooth now. All right, I'm going to put in the butter. The butter helps to give it a very nice piping quality, as well as to further enrich, gives it, the butter added gives it another depth of taste to the entire frosting. We don't want the frosting that looks good only but don't taste good. Alright, so here we have got nice cream cheese from Anchor and nice butter. Okay, using premium ingredients is always very important when you want something to taste good and not just look good. Okay, this will take a while, so I'm going to let it cream nicely first. If you take a look at it, you see it's got a nice creamy yellow. If you don't want to put any colors. This is a nice natural color. Okay, so I'm going to just leave it as it is here, and I've got my piping bag fitted with a nozzle. Okay, well this particular cream is very good for piping anything or even basic decoration on your cakes, and this is a great frosting for your cakes, for example, such as your red velvet. All right, cream cheese. I love cheese, so this is yummy. All right, not just will it look good, but it will taste good as well. So just make sure it comes out smoothly. Okay, and all right, now you see I've got my mixture here. I can just pipe it here first. Okay, sort of zigzag it like this. Okay, and all right, to show that it's got some strawberries in it, I'm going to sort of cut some strawberries. Okay, got some. You can keep some of the leaves if you want for a little bit of color. If not, you can remove them as you wish. So just cut the strawberries into like this. And you can just place them like this. For a very simple, fresh kind of look. Okay, now we pastry chefs like to glaze the strawberries a bit with a bit of clear glaze. If you're not going to consume immediately, a clear glaze can give like a little bit of shine onto the strawberry, as well as helps to protect the surface of the strawberry, especially if you're going to keep it in the fridge. Okay, now this cake, if you leave it in the fridge, it will of course firm up a little bit. Now if you don't wish it to firm up, you can always just thaw before you eat, or just cream and then the moment it's baked, eat it right away and enjoy it. Alright, so anyway, this is our strawberry chocolate cheese delight. I hope you will enjoy that, and don't hesitate to get hold of the ingredients, which are all available at Creative Culinary the School, and go ahead and make this delicious delight for your family. Thank you.